Today on Judge Faith, this former tenant says her bed was full of bugs and her landlord needs to pay.
This shady slumlord rented me a bedbug-infested apartment that was probably illegal.
You are now signing a lease with Mr. Bailey. You've already told me you had bugs. You already told me there was a leak. You already told me the door wouldn't close. So whose judgment are you trusting now, except your own?
And later, he wanted a ring with some bling, but he had no cha-ching.
I'll pay for the ring when it was my responsibility.
Right now, it's still sitting in collections. They call us every day.
And while their credit score is plummeting lower, he's living higher.
You don't want to pay for the ring anymore. That's what this is about. It's not that you can't pay for the ring. You've just decided you don't want to pay for the ring.
Faith Jenkins. Her distinguished legal career began when she graduated first in her law school class. She quickly became a tough New York City prosecutor and then a preeminent legal analyst on cable news. And now she's the judge in her own courtroom. Her cases are real and her rulings are final. She is Judge Faith. Plaintiff Linda Aguillo says her apartment was swarming with bedbugs and her landlord needs to return her deposit and pay for the fumigation. Joining her in court is her sister Esmeralda. Defendant Michael Bailey says the plaintiff left the apartment a disaster and owes for cleaning fees.
Remain seated and come to order. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Faith Jenkins presiding. Judge, we have Aguayo versus Bailey.
Thank you, Barbara. Ms. Aguayo, you're here today suing your former landlord for $919 for the return of a security deposit and also for fumigation costs. Mr. Bailey, according to you, you don't owe because the plaintiff left trash and damages behind when she moved out. You're also countersuing for $500 for cleaning and repairs. Ms. Aguayo, I'll hear from you first.
Your Honor, this shady slumlord rented me a bedbug-infested apartment that was probably illegal and also refuses to refund me my security deposit.
How did you find this apartment?
I had moved in with 2 roommates and they found it and I trusted their judgment. I moved in and I just met him the day I signed the lease.
Do you have a written and signed lease agreement?
Yes, I do. Here. But that's not the one that I'm here about. That lease got terminated due to bedbug bites.
Back up for a second. So you signed this lease with 2 roommates.
Yes.
Back on July 1st of 2013.
Yes.
Okay, what happened with this lease?
What happened was that from day 1, we started getting bit. It smelled like dog, and so we thought it was fleas. We started bombing the place twice a month, and then eventually we thought there were spider bites because we kept bombing and they just kept
Well, did you
biting
tell
us.
the defendant about the bed bugs when you first discovered them?
We let him know when once he left to Denmark for a whole month and the roof pretty much started leaking because it started raining. It just poured in. It was like a rainforest inside. Also, the front door, it didn't even lock properly. It didn't even close properly. We had to put a paint bucket just to close it because it would just slam right open with a little bit of wind. They pretty much, my roommates, decided to move out. I lost my friendship with them because I was defending him. I was thinking that he was a good guy.
Why would you be doing that based on everything that you just described to me?
I liked the apartment. I just didn't like the situations that were occurring every month, every single time. There was like,
So besides the bugs, the leak, and the door not shutting, everything else was great?
Yeah, I mean, it's San Francisco. You can't really find an apartment that easily, and also it's spacious, and you don't really find that in San Francisco.
Okay, so they leave the apartment, and what do you do?
I was going to school. I was in my last quarter, and I needed to graduate. My job was 10 minutes away, so I found it convenient for me to stay there.
So you signed another lease?
A new lease, yes. Yes.
All right, I'll hear from you, Mr. Bailey. That's just crazy to me. I mean, you've told me about all these issues and all these problems. He's this huge slumlord, and then you're like, okay, but I'll stay for another year.
I didn't think he was the slumlord until I actually vacated the place.
All right.
I thought he was a good man.
What's going on here, sir?
This is ridiculous.
All right.
5 months after she and her friends signed a lease, her friends tried to get
It was actually 3 months after.
Don't do that. Go ahead, Mr. Bailey.
Her 2 friends were trying to sue me. They wanted Linda to go in with them, and she came to me and told me this and said that she wanted to keep the apartment.
What were they trying to sue you for?
They were claiming that they were getting spider bites, and I didn't understand that. I've never had a problem with bugs there.
Okay, but did you come to learn that there were actually bed bugs that had infested the apartment?
A couple of months after Linda moved in. In December, Linda came to me and said, I'm getting bitten. And the two, I called.
It was actually October.
I called.
Stop interrupting.
Okay.
He stood there and didn't say a word while you
I
testified.
apologize.
Show him the same respect and show the court the same respect.
I'll show the court the same respect.
When Linda brought up to me that there was a problem, I found out we did have bed bugs.
Okay, so what did you do about it when you found out?
What did I do about it? I tried to schedule the exterminators to come over, and I told Linda that she had brought in these bed bugs.
Doesn't matter where they came from, you have bed bugs in the unit. And as a
Right.
landlord, it's your responsibility to get rid of them. So did you ever schedule an exterminator to come out and treat the apartment?
Yes.
Okay, when was that?
That was as Linda was moving out in February.
Oh, so it was only after she moved out?
Correct.
Coming up on Judge Faith.
I built an apartment there. I live there also.
Right, but it's not up to code.
It's built to code, but it is not legal to be living there.
And later, has his trip on the gravy train finally come to an end?
He was having too much fun. He was the happily divorced guy out having fun, partying, buying a new car. That's how we felt looking
Wait,
in.
he bought a new car?
At one point in time, he even
Oh, so
told
you're
us
just
that
not even trying to pay
at
them
one
back.
point in
That's
time,
what
he
it
told us
is.
that he
You're
was
not even
gonna
making
pay
an
off.
effort.
The plaintiff is suing for a refund of her rental deposit on a bedbug-ridden apartment. The defendant says his tenant trashed the apartment and is countersuing.
This is a commercial lease?
Yes,
So no one's actually supposed to be living in this apartment as a residential apartment?
that's correct. It's not legal.
Okay, so why are you renting it out to Miss Aguayo and her friends?
I built an apartment there. I live there also.
Right, but it's not up to code.
Well, it's built to code, but it is not legal to be living there.
Did you know this was a commercial lease, Miss Aguayo?
No, he passed it out of a residential lease, and then after I signed it, I looked. I know it was my fault for not reading it. But
Well, no, you signed this document, and it is presumed under the law when you sign a document that you read the contents. So to come in here today and say, well, I didn't read it, I just signed it, that's not good enough.
I trust the judgment of my roommates.
Why would you trust the judgment of your roommates?
We were really good friends.
Well, no, this is after your roommates have
Yes.
moved out. This is
Yes.
when you are now signing a lease with Mr. Bailey. You've already told me you had bugs. You already told me there was a leak. You already told me the door wouldn't close. So whose judgment are you trusting now, except your own?
I was also trusting that he wasn't a bad man. I was trusting that because he would tell us, oh, you can live here, just don't tell my landlord. And so I didn't want to get him in trouble. I wanted to live there, you know?
Is that why you went
I mean,
to
that's
my
what the bottom
landlord
line
and
is.
told
You
him
were
that,
willing to.
I went
Sir,
there
excuse
to
me.
find out
Don't
who he
speak to her
was.
directly. Talk to me.
Okay.
There are a couple of issues in this case. First, I'm going to deal with your counterclaim because I am quite surprised that you would come in and file a counterclaim knowing that you're renting an illegal, bed bug infested, leaky, perhaps even moldy apartment to a bunch of 22-year-olds, and you can come in here and think that you have some kind of claim under the law. It's like coming in and, and saying, this drug deal went bad. I tried to sell her cocaine and she didn't pay me for cocaine, judge, and I want to come in here now and you solve this problem because she breached the contract with our cocaine agreement. It's illegal, and I can't do that. And just like this lease is illegal, you have an issue because the only legal right you have under an illegal lease is the right to evict. Who's your witness here today?
My sister.
Hi.
Hi.
Step over to the lectern. What do you have to add to this case?
I was there for the verbal agreements at the end when he said that my sister was gonna have her full deposit and also that she could move. And basically at that point, I was also there when she was struggling with this. She was working 2 jobs, she was a student, and she was thinking about postponing school just to be able to deal with the bed bugs. and still work.
You know what? I would actually be more sympathetic to her because I remember when I was your age and I was getting my first apartment on my own and what that meant to me, to be independent, to be in school, working and everything. What makes me less sympathetic is you knew that all of these issues were happening. Your friends had sense enough to move out and you signed another lease for another year. I mean, I can't relate to that decision and what your thinking was when you did that. The other issue is, you signed a commercial lease. You knew that this lease was not meant for people to live there. And so you had knowledge that this was an illegal lease. You don't get to recover your security deposit. You forfeit that money as well because the two of you knowingly entered into an illegal contract. But here's what I am going to do. I don't think anyone should have to live with bed bugs. So my judgment in this case is for the plaintiff for $169. I think you should pay her and reimburse her for having to pay for those bed bugs and treat those bed bugs because that was not her responsibility. That's your responsibility as the landlord. And as for your counterclaim, 0. That's my judgment. Have a good day, folks.
Plaintiffs Cornell and Mackenzie Whitney say their credit is being ruined because his cousin, defendant Keenan Douglas, stopped making payments on a wedding ring that was paid for using their credit. Keenan says he started paying on the wedding ring, but it's no longer in his possession. He's refusing to make any additional payments.
Mr. and Mrs. Whitney, you brought your cousin to court today because you say he owes you $2,892 for a wedding ring that you helped him purchase. Mr. Douglas, you say there is nothing saying you have to pay for the ring and you are not going to pay for a ring that you don't have, so you owe them nothing. How do you know the defendant?
He is my husband's cousin.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's my cousin. Actually, it started about 3 years ago. He came to me and asked me, could I co-sign for him to get a ring? He decided he's gonna get married. He met the girl of his dreams. He wanted to get married, so he wanted help to get a ring.
Hold on for a second. Is this your first cousin?
Yes,
Are
my
you
first cousin.
guys close?
Yeah,
Did
we
you
all
grow up together? Tell me a
same
little bit
house.
about your background.
Yeah, we moved from South America. We were about, I don't know, he was about 3, I was about 5. We all grew up in the same house together. We grew up like brothers. We hung out together. Like I said, he felt comfortable enough to come ask me to co-sign a ring for him. I decided that, hey, he was trying to change his life around. He was trying to do things, he was trying to do something better. We thought it was something positive. So like, hey, we'll help you out. It didn't seem like anything at that point in time was a problem because he had a good job. He was making pretty good money, so we felt comfortable going and being a co-signer for him at that point in
Well,
time.
if he had a good job and he was making good money, why did he need for you to co-sign? Why couldn't he get a ring on his own?
Coming up, this defendant gets a reality check.
Me and my wife decided to split and go our ways. We came into agreement. She said she wanted to keep the ring.
Last I heard, the ring was pawned.
Whatever happened with your marriage, you still have an agreement with them for the loan on the ring.
Plaintiffs Cornell and Mackenzie Whitney say their credit is being ruined because his cousin, defendant Keenan Douglas, stopped making payments on a wedding ring that was paid for using their credit.
Why couldn't he get a ring on his own?
Well, when we went into the office, to the jewelry store, the lady said that he just didn't have strong enough credit. She didn't describe exactly what the reasons why. She just said his credit wasn't strong enough to be able to get the ring when we were there.
It's not really about having enough credit, it's about having bad credit. And when you have bad credit, that means that someone doesn't pay their bills.
At that point in time, we didn't think it was bad credit. We thought like he was young, because we went through the same situation. Like I knew it was hard to be able to sign for stuff being young on your own.
How much was the ring that he wanted to purchase?
It was about $2,400.
Okay, so you went to your cousin.
Yes, ma'am.
And you felt comfortable enough to ask him to co-sign for your ring?
Yes, I did.
Tell me about that.
I tried to go get the ring on my own, but as he said, my credit wouldn't allow me to. So I called my cousin up and asked him, you know, do you mind co-signing for a ring for me? He was like, fine, okay, he'll do it.
And you have proof now of how much is still remaining on the ring.
yes,
and
we
what
have
happened with the debt? Did you ever pay it off?
No, right now it's still sitting in collections. They call us every day.
Okay, so it went to collections.
Yes, it's in collections at this point in time. Like I said, credit is going down the drain at this point in time.
Okay, so let me see your evidence there. Why did you fall behind on the payments? What happened?
When I first got married, you know, we had bills, so I really couldn't make the
And this was one of them.
Yeah, it was. I really couldn't make the $200 payments like I said I would, but I was making some type of payment on there.
At that point, we contacted Keenan to get the ring back, and they weren't together anymore. So we had to then contact her.
Okay, so they're not together
No,
anymore.
we're not together.
Okay, and she still has the ring.
Yeah,
You don't
she
have
still-
the ring.
no, she has the
Okay,
ring.
all right.
Well,
But you
we don't
still
know
made
who-
the loan with them. That's the issue.
Yes.
At this point in time, we don't know who has the ring, Your Honor. Last I heard, the ring was pawned. When we tried to get it back, the ring was in pawn. We couldn't get the ring at that point in time. That's what she told us.
So what is your defense? Because you admit to making this agreement with them and they helped you get the ring out of the kindness of their own hearts, and you actually proposed to your fiance, who eventually became your wife, with the ring. What is your defense for not paying for the ring at this point?
I paid for the ring when it was my responsibility, but then when me and my wife decided to split and go our ways, we came into agreement. She said she wanted to keep the ring, and I was like, well, you know the situation on the ring.
But she doesn't have an agreement with them. You have the agreement with them. Whatever happened with your marriage has no bearing on your agreement with them. Just because your marriage didn't work out, just because the two of you split up and she took the ring with her, you still have an agreement with them for the loan on the ring.
Right, but then when they called...
So why aren't you paying it? Why haven't you paid it?
It's not. I don't feel like it's my responsibility no more.
Well, it's not about what you feel like. I didn't ask you how you felt. I asked why aren't you paying for the ring? It is your responsibility.
It is?
You made the loan. You made the loan with them. Your agreement is with them. You're not telling me anything that's a legitimate reason as to why you aren't paying for this ring. I think what you want to say is, well, I feel like I don't have to pay it because I'm divorced from my wife and I don't care about their ring anymore, but they care about their credit. They care about the loan that you took out from them, that they had to take out on your behalf.
That's fair.
I don't know. After a while, it seemed like he was having too much fun. He was the happily divorced guy out having fun, partying.
Oh, okay.
Buying new cars. That's how we felt looking at it.
Wait, he bought a new car?
Yeah, he bought a new. At one point in time, he even
so
told
you're
us
just
that.
not even trying to pay them
At one
back.
point in
That's
time,
what
he
it
told
is.
us that he
You're
was
not
going
even
to pay
making an
off.
effort.
He was going to sell his old car. Once he sold his old car, he was going to get the money from that old car, and he's going to pay the ring off. Well, came to find out from social media, we didn't even find out on our own. Social media showed us that he got a new car, and we were just like,
People are always
We have
costly.
pictures
What
of
was
the
it,
old
Facebook?
car and the new car.
Barbara, would you hand that to me? People
I had to
are
get a new
always
car,
costly.
Your Honor, because I had to get transportation to move around.
This is the
So
old
I did sell my old car, but I still had to get a new car to move around with.
Old car, new car.
Okay, there we go. I was gonna buy the J's for Christmas, but I bought something better. LOL, Merry Christmas to me.
And now, Judge Faith rules.
So is that the new car?
That is the new car.
Okay, all right. So at this point, you're just picking and choosing what you want to spend your money on, and you've chosen because you're divorced and things didn't work out with your wife. She's gone on about her business. You don't want to pay for the ring anymore. That's what this is about. It's not that you can't pay for the ring. You've just decided you don't want to pay for the ring. But it's unfortunate because your cousin stuck his neck out on the line. They stuck their necks out on the line for you, and you're ruining their credit. That's not fair to them. And see, that's the problem. It just looks like it's a slap in their face. Because you owe money to them, but you're on Facebook posing pictures with the door. What is that, a suicide door?
I had that car before we even made this payment. This agreement. So that wasn't something that was fixed up after I made this agreement. That car was like that.
You do look like you're kind of broke in that photo, though, I have to admit.
I look broke.
I'm just messing with you. All right,
No,
so what's your defense?
Me and my wife, okay, she decided she wanted to keep the ring, and she knew the situation on the ring, so I told her, I said, look, if you want to keep the ring, you know you got to pay out the rest of this balance on this ring. So she was fine with that. They even called her, contacted her, made an agreement like he said of whatever, $300 for the minimum to start out with or whatever. And when she didn't go through with that payment, then they came back to prosecute me.
They just want their money. They just want to be paid back. That's the bottom line. You bought the ring under the condition that you would pay it off. You want to be able to propose to your fiance and get married. Unfortunately for you, that relationship did not work out, but the termination of that relationship did not terminate your agreement to them and to pay off the loan that you made with them. And a couple of things I want to say, you shouldn't do your cousin like this. He just talked about how you guys grew up together, how close you were, and how close that you are as a family, and you shouldn't be doing your cousin like this. Like, he did something really nice for you, him and his wife, and they didn't have to do that, but they were just looking out for you and your best interest when you said that you met the love of your life. So you should make every effort to pay them back the money that you owe them. They put their credit on the line, they put their good name on the line. They're a young couple trying to make it in this world just like you are. are. So show them some respect, pay off your loans when they're due, and pay them the money. My verdict is for the plaintiffs in this case, $2,892.00. Good luck, folks.